Hello. In this video, we're going to go over section 4, the annotations. We're going to use the large inches template. And as you can see here, to define an angular dimension is looking for points, 3 of them. So it essentially creates an arc. Offset, we could flip, Boolean toggle, and then a dimension style, which I know there is the inch decimal, and then the opportunity to overwrite some text. Also mirror dimension line in the options. So let's set our origin. 0.2, 0.3, and our offset's rather large. So let's go, could do the offset to these points, forming the arc, but I'll just add in a value to demonstrate. There's our offset. There's our flip to the other angle. We wanted to overwrite the text. We could overwrite the text there. Remove the override. Output is dimension. Next one, go ahead and define hatch. It's looking for a curve, pattern, rotation, and a scale. So there is a gotcha here. We'll start with a rectangle. Just make sure it's a rectangle. And it's going to say object reference is not set to an instance. So we could see here, connect value list for active patterns. We connect our value list, no values found. So that's where we don't have an instance of the object. So it requires that you have your hatch table loaded. So since this is a fresh file, there isn't a hatch table. So I'm going to hatch this rectangle. All right, now we have a hatch table loaded into our project. Now when I redrag this, we'll have our options for hatch. In there. One thing, I think we'll go into that later on the deconstructs. Just put this for there for later. So there's our hatch. Next one we'll do is define leader. So we're looking for text, some points. Start with the arrow point. So we're going to put in 3 points. Point. Same as before, we're just going to select these, set 1 point, first one being the leader, set 1 point, next one being the, they call it the shoulder. And yeah, we'll just set that point. There we have our leader. You can set the dimension style as well as a plane. So if you were going to have that like in a 3D view, you'd want to establish a plane. That dimension style is not found. We could probably go over here, have a dimension style. Next one we'll do is a linear dimension. Once again, a couple points. We'll use the same dimension style. This is really similar to the angular one, but it's going to be linear. Point 1, point 2. Offset right here. Once again, dimension plane is going to be critical if you're looking to be not in the plane XY. Then the upper right text is similar to the angular. All right, next one is going to be a radial. It's asking for the center of the radius, the tip of the radius, dimension point, style. We'll take our style as inch decimal. We're going to grab point containers and copy them. So a good way to illustrate this, let's set 1 point here, set 1 point here. We're going to get the distance. From here to here. And make a circle. That radius, starting from right there. Right. So that's going to be the center. Then we'll make the tip of point on curve. Get our radial dimension. Pretty straightforward. Next, we'll define a text dot. If you're not familiar with text dots, they're pretty useful. They are an object that can be seen in any view. It's always going to be facing the screen. So if I put my text dot text, if I'm rotating around the screen, it's always going to be facing. You can also bake these. Then I think there's a convert dots command. Output to text. So now you converted it to a regular text. Very handy. Next one is our text component. Still asking for that dimension style. Needs to be default. And then we can add in some text. And that's going to bake in as our text style, which is actually there we go. Bake the plane the first time. One thing to note here is, since it's got this black bar, you could choose either a curve output, changing the size depending on the dimension style, and you could make a surface. Surface is really handy, as well as the curve output for doing Boolean operations or doing CNC work where you need an engraving text. I think there's a engraving text, yeah, right here. Put it back to line work. You can see that's a simple lines. So the last components here are going to be our deconstruct dimension, deconstruct hatch, deconstruct text. Deconstruct the text will give you the plain text. Let's just output our normal text in this case. That can be just deconstructed. So now we have our text output, plain output, height, and justification. You can use these to build texts in other programs or manipulate how you see fit, maybe change some text. Deconstruct hatch is going to be an important one. If you were doing, if you wanted to get the hatch, it's not a compatible dimension. Oh, deconstruct hatch. So this is going to give your boundary as a trim surface. Boundary is hatch as a surface, since it's a solid hatch. The boundary is a polyline, the name of the hatch, the scale of the hatch, and the rotation. If I switch to a line-based one, hatch geometry is going to be curves. So if, for instance, you had a, let's see if we can add a circle. So if we add a circle to our hatch, so it gives us hatch boundary is going to be a trim surface that, if you baked, would have the hole in it. And then deconstruct dimension is going to be pretty straightforward. Gives you the value, the text, the plane, the points that made up the dimension, as well as the style. There's one more here, the export objects. This is different enough and more complex, so I'm going to make a short video explaining just this component by itself. So that'll wrap up a quick orientation on the section 4 annotations.